Hey, it's meteorologist Cory Reppenhagen here with the 9 News Weather Impact Team to update you on your weather forecast and things beyond the forecast if we can. We're going to have a relatively cool day here in the Front Range here with this north wind continuing to press down, bringing a little bit of a bite to the air, likely keeping our temperatures below freezing, if not maybe right at freezing. And we do have a storm system rolling through the state today. We'll see some snow in the high country, most likely just light snow throughout the afternoon and evening hours. It'll try to press down into the Front Range, but most likely just maybe ending up with a few flurries on the Palmer Divide at best, probably not looking at much accumulation outside of the mountains where they are not expecting a lot of accumulation either. Now, let's take a look at that satellite picture. You can kind of see those clouds drifting in from the north there, that bringing that cold air with just a little bit of a moisture in it. We have some flurries already up into some parts of the high country right now. Zoom out, you can kind of see the encompassing storm system up here to the north, bringing snow through Wyoming and Montana right now. That'll be just kind of drifting through our area over the next 24 hours. Most of it's centered out there towards the Great Lakes, so this one won't have a huge impact. And then we'll have about a 1-day break before we get the next Arctic cold front in. You can take a look at the Eisenhower and Johnson tunnels right now. Here is the live picture at 11 o'clock. They do have a hold on that westbound side right there, and I believe that is because they are bringing hazmat trucks through through the tunnel because they can't go over Loveland Pass right now. So there is a brief hold on the westbound side right now. You can see that wind blowing right there. That's the major issue right now in parts of the high country. The wind just blowing that snow, creating some visibility issues. That's likely why they're not bringing those hazardous waste materials over the hazardous materials over the Loveland Pass. So they're bringing them through the tunnel right now, and you can't bring traffic through the tunnel when those trucks are going through there. So a brief hold on I-70. Expect slow conditions, slow driving up there with the way the wind is blowing up there in the high country. Also have some light flurries starting to fall in parts of the high country as well. So your wind gust forecast for today, not looking like a huge gusty night, or gusty day like we had last night, but winds are still in the 20 to 30 mile per hour range up and down the foothills. We just probably saw one of those 30 mile per hour gusts up on the top of Eisenhower Johnson tunnels. We do continue to have a breezy conditions here in the Front Range as well. We're still seeing those winds in the 10 to 25 mile per hour range across the Front Range, and they are coming from the north in general, so it's got a really cold bite to it. Eastern Plains pretty gusty up there, especially towards the northeast corner, and that should continue through the day until about maybe a few hours after sunset. That'll start to die off here, and the Front Range, the urban corridor, will start to become breezy, a little less gusty out there on the Eastern Plains, and then the foothills may pick up some stronger gusts again tonight over in the overnight hours. Probably not in the 60 to 70 mile per hour range, but tonight we're looking in the 30 to 50 mile per hour range. And then tomorrow it'll be a little bit of more of a less windy day, more of a breezy day here on the Front Range, while the winds kick back up on the Eastern Plains, and it stays windy in the foothills for tomorrow. So the wind will be an issue as we go through the next 36 hours or so. Here's your futurecast to kind of get a character on the snowfall through today. You can see generally in the beginning here, isolated from the central mountains to the north, pretty light and isolated as far as the more bulky snow showers go, pretty isolated. And as we go through the day, it'll stay like that, although spreading briefly down to the southern part of the southern mountains, but not looking at too much in the way of accumulation. But there's still going to be an impact because of that wind blowing up in the high country, especially in the central and northern mountains. And it does try to make it onto the eastern side of the state here just briefly, but it looks like for the most part just a few isolated light snow flurries possible on the eastern half. And this will go all the way into the morning hours tomorrow before we get a one-day break. Here's the total snow that is in the forecast here. We're looking at a dusting to 2 inches in some of the mountain towns. Maybe Steamboat and Winter Park might be the only mountain towns to pick up more than an inch here. On the mountain passes, we're looking about 1 to 3, maybe 1 to 4 inches. So very, very light snow, but keep in mind there's still some impacts because of the wind and the visibility. Let's zoom in on the Front Range, just try to get the character of what we might see down here. We could see most likely some flurries or light snow isolated on the Palmer Divide as we go through the day here, probably along the interstate, along parts of Greenland, Lake Larkspur, Monument Hill, and we could also see some snow showers briefly here in the South Denver metro, maybe places like Lone Tree, Parker, and then up onto the Palmer Divide, places like Elizabeth. Not really expecting actual accumulation out of this. Maybe briefly, maybe on the south side of the Palmer Divide, south of Elizabeth, in parts of the Monument area. But most likely this snow is not going to have an impact on us. It'll mostly just be the cold wind that will have the most weather impact on you as you go through your day today and then into tomorrow. So here we are coming up on sunrise tomorrow. Still some clouds in the area. Maybe a flurry at best, a couple of flakes here and there, but nothing in the way of actual accumulation. And then it clears out maybe right before noon tomorrow, and then we'll get a nice little break. It could even warm up to above normal temperatures on Friday before our next Arctic cold front comes in. So this front that we're having come through today will get those temperatures down there pretty cold tonight. We're looking at a very cold night on the eastern half of the state here with some single digits, which would include the Denver metro area, Denver International Airport likely dropping down to about 7 degrees. The rest of the metro part of the city could also see some single digits. Negatives in the high country, once again, negative 22 in Gunnison. That's not unusual. As it's been pretty much every day since Thanksgiving, they've been in the negative 20 range, and the western slope looking like it's pretty cold day 2 in Cortez, 6 in Durango, 11 in Grand Junction. So let's focus on the next couple of days here around the stock show forecast, the National Western Stock Show. Your Thursday is still going to be pretty chilly out there as the cold air continues to come in from this cold front. We're looking at maybe getting up to about freezing tomorrow, and then dropping down back into the teens on Friday. And we could get a little bit of a break. It'll be a warmer for sure. I don't know if it'll actually feel warm, but considering the polar vortex that we just went through, I think a 44 degrees with a breeze might feel pretty decent here on Friday before we get into our next Arctic cold front. So it looks like the National Western Stock Show will wrap things up this coming weekend with another little Arctic cold front, and we're looking at some snow coming in here on Saturday. So here's your forecast high temperatures for tomorrow. You can see pretty much cold conditions out here on the eastern half of the state. 32 in Denver would be a good 13 degrees cooler than the normal high temperature for this time of year. Some teens and maybe a single digit or two here in some of the hot mountain valleys like the Gunnison Valley and the western slope, staying on the cool side as well, staying generally below 40 for the entire state of Colorado tomorrow. And as far as that snow that's coming up here on Saturday, that'll be the next Arctic cold front after today's front moves through. We're looking at snow starting in the afternoon hours on Friday. So here we are at 2 p.m. We don't have any snow accumulation on the ground just yet. Oh, that just fast forwarded the whole thing. Let me back that up so we can see that more clearly. We start to get some light snow accumulation in the central and northern mountains by about 3 o'clock on Friday, and it stays generally pretty light until the overnight hours, Friday into Saturday. Once we get into Saturday morning, we start to pick up some pretty significant snow in parts of the high country. Notice how it's staying mostly focused to the central and northern mountains, but we could see a good 4 to 10 inches in some parts of the northern mountains, maybe the Front Range mountains, looking at a good 4 to 10 inches. But for the most part, it stays to the kind of the northern half of the mountains, which does include the I-70 mountain corridor. So Friday night into Saturday, would expect some snowy and slow conditions on the interstate up into the high country. And also notice that some of the snow showers come down here onto the Front Range and to the eastern plains. And by about 6 a.m. on Sunday, we're looking at a good 1 to 4 inches across the Front Range, the urban corridor from Cheyenne to Denver here, looking at 1 to 4 inches, maybe a little less out on the northeast plains, but they should get a little bit of snow out of this storm system. And then the area that has been struggling with snow this year in the southwest part of the state will likely get missed once again with this storm system just picking up an inch or two of snow here or there. But that's going to keep the snow deficit in the southwest San Juans at a pretty substantial. We're looking at possibly going down into the 50% below average range there for the southern San Juans, and that's kind of holding the rest of the state's average snowpack down, where the central and northern mountains are kind of in an average condition, but with the below average conditions down in the southwest San Juans, the overall state snowpack is a good 11 to 12% below average. So here's your 7-day forecast here for the Denver metro area. So coming up, we talked about that Thursday and Friday there, centered around the stock show forecast. And then on Saturday, we're looking at a potential impact day. Most likely will be issued a 9 News weather impact day. It's only 1 to 4 inches and it's on a weekend, but I think there's still going to be enough traffic out there with the weekend activities where 1 to 4 inches of snow will be pretty impactful, especially if we add any wind in there. We're not looking at any crazy cold temperatures with a low of 17 on Saturday morning, but only climbing up to about 26 degrees on the course of that Saturday. Do get some sunshine coming our way on Sunday, but we stay relatively cold. But then as we start the next week, we should get a few days of relatively normal temperatures, and then going into the next weekend, we could even see some well above normal temperatures, warm days maybe on Thursday and Friday before the next Arctic cold front comes in, and we are getting a pretty cold and snowy signal during the first week of February. So that would be something to watch in the long-term forecast for some more potential bigger snow totals coming our way in the first week of February. So that's certainly something to watch, but we do have the potential weather impact day coming up on Saturday, and otherwise we have a couple of decent looking days, but with some cold temperatures and some wind on Thursday and Friday. So that's your forecast. Thanks for watching and have a great week.